Hello, good day, and welcome to another episode of the show Talk to Taiwo. And I'm your host, Taiwo Yunis. Today, we're going to be having a reflective session. I have a guest, a capable counselor in the building, who is going to help us trash the topic managing, understanding, and managing depression. Hello, Counselor KP. I would like you to introduce yourself before we go into the conversation.
All right, Taiwo, thank you for having me here today. My name is Kolapo Adekoya, and I am a counseling psychologist. When it comes to my work as a counseling psychologist, I actually wear so many caps. And what that means is that I work with different sets of people. Okay, I work with people who have marital issues, drug addiction issues, and people with some sort of mental health challenges. I do all of that. Okay, so maybe I should just stop at that point, but this is Counselor KP, people normally call me, and I have passion for the work I do. And I really want to say thank you for having me on your show today, Taiwo.
Amazing. Thanks so much, sir. I know that we're going to have an awesome time because literally hearing you and everything you do, I'm just amazed that you're a pro who is dealing with the subject. And the concept of depression is something that everybody wants to talk about. Whatever
Mm.
happens, just a slight mood change. We don't spend so much time before we jump into the conclusion that, hey, I'm depressed. So I actually want to know, what is depression?
Okay, I like how you actually started it. Okay, because like I've always said to so many people, who will say, "Oh, KP, please, do you know what? I'm depressed. Oh, I have a sister. I think she's depressed," and all of that. And one of the questions I normally ask is that you don't just say you are depressed. Depression is not something that you should actually call and invite to yourself. Okay, and to help them further, I always say that, are you actually clinically diagnosed to be having depression? And I will give a description of what depression is. And like I said, a description because it's going to come with a definition and a description of what it is. Depression is actually an illness. Okay, it's an illness that is characterized by a persistent sadness or a loss of interest in activities that you normally enjoy. So what that means is that first of all, understand that it's an illness, and there are some characteristic features, that help you to know if you are being depressed. Okay, it is characterized by a persistent sadness, a persistent loss of interest in the activities that people normally enjoy. And you see, when you discover that you are going through this for the space of 2 weeks and above upgoing, then those are indication that the person may actually be having issues with depression. Where it normally starts is change of mood, swing of mood, okay, and when that persists for like 2 weeks, consecutively, that's an indication that you may be having issues with depression. And of course, there are times that people just become sad over a particular issue. Maybe something is going on with them, they don't like it, and all of that, and they get out of it again, and all of that. But when it persists, to the point that you are no longer in charge. You can no longer control it. You can't. Depression is not something that you can tell people snap out of it, get out of it. Just be happy because you are no longer in charge, and you need help from somebody, who is maybe professionally trained to help you to get out of it. I hope Taiwo have given a description and a attempted a definition of what depression is.
Amazing. You're giving, in fact, more than a just a definition of depression. And I am also a counseling psychologist. But honestly, this is like the first time I'm hearing that depression is clinically diagnosed. I have never heard it. It's easy for us to just come up to say, "Yay, we are
Um,
depressed because we are going through
yeah,
certain mood swing or certain gloomy time, or we're just having our moments." And consistently for 2 weeks. I'm just wondering what would happen to someone for 14 days on a go, every day for 14 days. That must have really cost a lot of time. It must have taken so much from any person who is experiencing that.
yeah.
So it's,
Mm.
it's an indication for our viewers to understand that having a moment for one day might not necessarily mean that we are depressed.
Yeah,
Okay,
that's
there are
correct.
hormones in the body that secrete different secretions right now, yeah. And so if it doesn't happen consistently for a long time, we may not necessarily have to term it as depression. Thank you, Microsoft Power Tools. I can see you're watching. Thank you, Lennon. I can see that you are connected. All right, moving forward, sir, having understood the definition of depression, at least by now, it's okay to understand that we shouldn't just use the concept as much as it falls to us. Okay,
Hmm.
like it just comes to our mouth, just use the concept anyhow, but then we're gaining knowledge on how to rightly state the rightly state what depression is and if we are currently going through it. Now, I want to know what are the possible causative factors of depression.
Okay, there are different things that can be termed as a causative factor, and it ranges from individual to individual. But first of all, let me say that depression is not a sign of weakness. Depression
Hmm.
is not, it can happen to anybody. It's not a sign of weakness. And we should get to a point where we'll be talking about the fact that it's actually treatable, it can be handled, it can be managed. Okay. Now, causative factors to depression. One, it can come as a result of experiences that people have had over time. Some people get depressed when things are not going the way they actually have planned that it should go. Okay, so for some people, that's the causative factor. Some other people get depressed maybe because of the death of a loved one. Okay, no, so that's another causative factor to depression for some people. Some people get depressed, when they actually lose something. For example, like the whole world experienced COVID in in the last year, 2020. Some people, as a result of that, some things that they never imagined that could happen to them happened to them. There was no inflow of funds, no cash. Some people had to lose their job. Some people had to lose their loved ones to the pandemic and all of that. As we speak, some people are still battling with adjustment to normal life as a result of what has actually happened to them. Okay, so those are some of the causative factor to depression. But I also want to mention that to so many, especially young people in our age and time, um, um, there are some people who get carried away by the life that they see other people to be living. Like we are in the age and time of social media, okay, and some people see possibly their classmate, their age mate, their friends when they were in the elementary school, when they were in college, or when they were in high school, who are doing seemingly big and great things, and they post such picture on the social media, and they are looking at themselves, I'm not anywhere close to this. If that is not handled properly, that can also lead to depression, even for some people, because they have this deep thought of what is going on with other people that is not happening to them. Okay, people who have a problem with low self-esteem can also have come down with depression. So it ranges from one issue to the other. There are different things that are causative factor to different people. But one of the things I like to say is that the very first thing that depression um, come in through is people's thought pattern. People's thought pattern. When you begin to have negative thought patterns, like I have something here that depression often starts with a pattern of negative thoughts that are disruptive, intrusive, and difficult to dismiss. That is, when you have such a negative thought, over the time you are thinking about it, you are nursing it, you're working with it, after some time that thought tends to want to overcome, and it's now that thought that will now be determining what happens to your mood, your emotions, and all of that. At that point, the negative thought takes over, and you discover that you are no longer in charge. Okay, so at the inception of that, people can actually cut off when you discover that you are having these persistent negative thoughts that are disruptive, and they are difficult to dismiss. At that point, people should actually look for somebody to be of help and assistance to them.
Wow, thank you. I There's so many things that you have said that I would love to make reference to, but
Okay.
importantly, I want to, yeah, I want to just emphasize the place of negative thought pattern, because
Yeah,
honestly, if you look at people who have gotten so depressed, it starts from the mind. Okay,
that's correct.
it's whatever you have inhaled, it's whatever you have seen, whatever has happened around you that becomes outrightly becomes who you are, and that is where depression comes to play. And I also like the fact that you said depression is not a weakness. So some people do not think that it is people who are inferior that actually get depressed. Rich people get depressed, poor people get depressed,
Well,
healthy men get depressed. In fact, I'm thankful that you helped us to understand that depression ranges from individual to individual. So how I take the loss of a loved one may not necessarily be how someone else's takes the loss of a loved one. Okay,
that's
so
correct.
because we act differently and we have different emotions running in us per time, it could just come up. Okay, and so when somebody comes up and say, "Oh, I'm depressed," it doesn't mean that this person just wants to gain attention. In most cases,
Mhm.
probably the person is actually going through a whole lot. And because this is not a weakness, I mean, it could happen to anybody. It's not because you have never been depressed before means that you are stronger. Okay, I know someone who says when something is happening to you, quickly come off it. Just do things to keep yourself busy. It might not be as easy as that, because we different ways of reacting to situations around us.
That's correct.
Am I?
That's, that's
Yes.
correct. And another thing that people need to know, like you have rightly mentioned, that when you have people around you, for example, now when you say to a student in class that, why is it that I have taught you this and you have failed to get it? Now, the only thing that that child may be picking from that statement is that you are referring to him as a failure, and you say the
Hmm.
same thing to another child. Why is it that I have taught you this over and over and you have failed to get it? That child, the other child, may be picking from that same statement that, oh, my teacher is not happy with me because I'm not getting it right, and because she believes I can get it right, so let me try more. Whereas the other child is seeing it as as you already referring to him as a failure and get down and not having the power to try again. Okay, so when things happen to people, and that's one of the things that we need to educate ourselves about, that the fact that I can cope with the loss of a loved one without too much stress and all of that does not mean that the other party can also do the same. Okay, so we making telling people that you see, if I am the one, I know this is the way I will handle this. You are not the same set of people. Do you understand? Or you say that come off it. What happened to you? What has happened now? Just because you lost your job and all of those things, because the way we process information actually differ from person to person. Okay, and like I have said that negative thought patterns, when they attend to people, for some people this negative thought may be about your appearance, your work, your social standing. There are times that you just look at yourself as an individual. It happens to people that they just look at themselves, they carry out an evaluation about themselves, and they just feel that, oh, I'm not actually where I am supposed to be. And that thought alone, now, instead of opening their minds up to so many positive things that they have been able to achieve, you have been able to finish elementary school, you have gone to high school, you have gone to college, you have actually had to work in one or two or three different places and you did very well and all of that. When this negative thought pattern overcome, it will not allow people to actually see so many positive sides, so many positive things that have happened to them. It will dwell on those negative, where I have not reached, where I am supposed to have been, and all of that. And the more you feed your mind with all of those things, the more you go down, because negative thought pattern, that is what it wants to achieve. It has come to disrupt your plan, your thought pattern, so that you will not see anything positive about yourself again. Okay, so that's the way it works with people. So when
Amazing.
you begin to see yourself thinking about that, then you can start thinking about the positive things that have happened to you. Look back and see some of the positive things that you have actually achieved. I think with that, I'm beginning to let us into some of the ways by which people can get themselves out of it. But we need to say that because so many people don't know how it actually started. Because when the journey starts, so many people don't really know. They are not conscious of the fact that they are on a journey that they may not be able to come out of alone. Okay,
Quickly.
so I
Yeah.
just feel I need to put that in.
Amazing. Thank you so much, sir. And because the show Talk to Taiwo is about talking about contemporary issues that relates to teenagers, young adults, parents, and even children of the 21st century.
Mm,
I think it's
yeah,
important for us to emphasize the role that social media plays in getting people depressed. At times you think if it's just a loss of a job, we could find a way around it. If it's just the loss of a property, we could find a way around it. If it's the loss of a loved one, other people can serve as comfort at time. But this social media that we consume daily, you know, sometimes you are out of data for a day and you're not even comfortable. And then you get to see people who are doing great things, seemingly great things. I want you to put it in context,
yeah,
seemingly great things. And this is not what you can do as a person. And you consume this every day. What you see is what you look like.
that's
Okay.
correct.
And because of this, it's that even plays a role because you don't even know when 1 month has gone, you don't know when 2 months has gone, and then you keep sinking deep into this. So social media plays a big role in getting the people. And I think that if we check statistics, the high depressive cases come from the use of social media. And I think it's important that young people understand that the more you consume content online, the more you're likely to feel unworthy of who you are and what you do currently.
Okay. Yeah, Taiwo, do you want me to talk into that? Do you want me to
If you
say,
want to react
yeah,
quickly,
okay. So
if you
because, yeah, one of the things that I always say to young people, teenagers, young adults, is the fact that social media is a platform. People just come there and put in
Dump a lot
anything
of
that
things.
they like there, okay, without minding the state of mind of the person that will come to read, without minding, their economic status, without minding where they are coming from and all of that. So it is actually the responsibility of the individual that wants to view the social media to, in a way, if I can use the word, inoculate themselves, just to ensure that you guard your heart, your mind, because you are just going to see a lot of different things there. Out of some of the things you're going to see, you will see lies there, you will see the truth there, you will see the one that looks like the truth and all of that. Okay, so you can't um judge your life, you can't weigh your life, you can't evaluate yourself based on the things that you see on social media. For example, I normally say to young people that when you see your friends who post pictures of themselves, have you seen anybody who would just be waking up from the bed and take a selfie, without and post it online straight away like that? It's possible that we'll see some few people will do that, no, but not many people will do that. Okay, so before, most of what you see online, there are things that have been
Edited
edited.
stuff.
There are things that
Filters.
yeah, you have filtered it. When you snap a picture, you put it on Lighto, and all of that. You just do a lot of things then, and by the time you put, in fact, you even change the background, so that people will not see where you're snapping it and all of that, so that by the time some people see that, they are like, wow, see, this my friend has gone ahead of me and I'm here nowhere to be found. And they quickly forget the achievement that they have also made in life. They quickly forget where what they have done in life, what they have achieved, can actually take them into. And so they judge themselves looking at people who just posting. There are a lot of people that post a lot of beautiful things online which are real, so, but instead of seeing that feedback as a way of looking down on yourself, take up the challenge and think of what to do with your life as an individual, and ask yourself questions, and what are those things that I can do as a teenager, comparing yourself with people that you see online will not really help you, especially when you are not taking positive vibes from that. Each time you go there, it's something that will just make you feel bad about yourself, and so you need to watch those things that are inlet to helping you to have those negative thoughts about yourself. So you really need to be careful.
Awesome.
People need to be careful about the social media. Mm.
Awesome. Thank you so much. And I think that this appeals to our audience who are particularly young people. So yeah, it's you can regulate your mind and what you consume. You cannot regulate what other people post on social media, but what you see is who you become. So work on your mind and then what you allow into your thought pattern. Thank you so much for helping us understand that. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed this session. If you're watching via YouTube, please remember to like this video. Moving forward, sir, I want to know, are there stages or type of depression? Because I know that you are a professional. I know you've spoken about this topic and I know you handled it with personal experiences. So do you think there are stages to depression?
Yeah, I will put this way that you know depression doesn't come the same way with everybody who have issues or challenges with it. Okay, so for some people it normally starts with that distorted thought. When people start having that negative thought pattern, and it moved to, for some people, it's just the negative thought pattern, and that's where they are. They move on to isolating themselves, from other people, or isolating themselves from things that they normally do enjoy to do, and for some people it starts from that distorted thought pattern to isolation and to suicide. Okay, For
Mm.
some people, it can be that fast. For some people, it starts from the negative thoughts to isolating themselves to start affecting their eating pattern, sleeping pattern, and some actually get down with some medical, I mean, health challenges, and the hallmark of it for some people as well, after they have gone through that progression, is eventually they begin to have suicidal ideation and suicidal attempt, which looks like the hallmark, for some people. Okay, so when we talk about the stages of depression, it's not the same for everybody. Like I have said, it's starts little by little, but the first part of it, which I and that's why I keep talking about the negative thought pattern for so many people. That's the starting point for so many people, and it moves on depending on who the person is, to suicide, to maybe ideation first of all, and eventually to attempting suicide. Some people attempt and they fail, while some people attempt at the very first time and they take their life.
Amazing. So depression is not, it doesn't happen at once. In the space
It's
of
not
two
something
weeks,
that jumps at people
that jumps
once
at
like
people
that.
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, so for the space of 2 weeks, there are different stages that you might have gone through, anyone might have gone through, to have been able to identify as a depressive state. Okay, so at first it comes from your mind that we have established, then it becomes isolation. So I'm reiterating these things because we don't know if people around us are going through situations. It's very easy to just look at somebody and say, wow, what's wrong with you? Like, we'll be fine in no time. Okay. We have all become motivational speakers of ourselves. But when you see that gradually somebody closer, or even you, it could happen to anybody. Remember, depression is not only for the weak. And then you discover that thought patterns have been uh, becoming negative, it's already becoming, you're getting into a state of isolation, then the pattern of probably eating, sleeping, engagement, your relationship, you're gradually declining and losing value. And for other persons, it is as terrible as suicidal thoughts, suicidal attempts. And
Mhm.
most times in where we come from in Nigeria, it's very easy to think that it is village people, but I mean, these are clinical diagnosis. It has been tested and it has been established that it is clinical. It can happen. So before we start thinking that it's witches or juju, like my people will call it, you should understand that depression is in stages. Thank you for helping us to identify that part. And there's a question I actually left out that I would have wanted you to know. For where we come from in Nigeria, we are very
Yeah.
strong on social media. I hope you agree with me. Now, this subject have been quite twisted by some people. When I'm trying to paint a scenario of what happened to me some time ago. Now, um, somebody, it was on social media, so I think I'm free to share because
Mm.
I'll keep it anonymous because I personally don't know who is involved, but it's just an example, right? So this man comes on Twitter and makes a post that he needed some amount of money on Twitter, and somebody makes a comment and say, even if I get that kind of money now, I'm going to use to bet to get, just a kind of salvage response. That's what Twitter community is about. And the second day, we learned that this guy, he made the post yesterday, committed suicide and died because he couldn't fend for himself. And so everybody came up, it became a trend that day. Everybody came up and people began to give their perspective because it was a trendy conversation. If you are depressed, come up, say it out, people will attend to you, people will talk to you, people will do this, people will do that. And I was following up that trend closely. And I got to a comment. That's the where I'm going. And this person says, I've been living because of my mom. She's been ill, she's this, she's that. I've been begging for money on this app. Nobody has answered me. The day my mom dies, I'm dying with her. And I checked on that. I saw a lot of people reaching out to that guy. Okay, send your bank details. Let's talk via DM. Send proofs and all that. I felt like it may be true, and I'm not saying that that story is not legit, but I'm just saying that in situations like this, people tend to take advantage of what is trendy. Now, do you think that there's a way that we can regulate this as a society? Because if you think, I know quite well that people easily use the word depression to gain empathy, to gain pity. So how do you think that we can regulate this?
Okay. The very first thing that came to mind is that to a very large extent, we should try to be our brother's keepers. And how can we do that? We can do that by educating ourselves. I'm sure we have some people, watching us, in the different platforms where this is being streamed, and that they are not even anywhere going close to depression. They just want
Hmm.
to know so that they will know how to help other people, And I am I in a group, it's a close Facebook group, where people are allowed to, yeah, no, it's an open group, yeah, where people come in. The group is just for support, it's about suicide prevention, and you see people all over the world. People will just pop in and say, I feel like I should end it now, and things like that. And within 10-20 minutes, you see a lot of people, putting in comment, please, my brother, don't. Where are you? I can drive to where you are, and all of those things. People will share their experience. So that's part of the things that we can do to be our brother's keeper. And sincerely, there are some people that when they have somebody close to them, talking about what they are going through, they are clueless as to what to do. They don't know how to be of help and assistance. The truth of the matter is that even world over, even in countries where they are advanced and all of that, people will continue to have needs, and we have responsibility to ensure that we help as many people that we can. To some people, we are not going to help them. It's not by giving them money that we are helping them. It's just by leading them to where they can receive help to whatever challenge that they are having. Okay, so one of the things that we can do to keep our environment or keep our society sane is that when we see people who, you know, say things online, it may even be a young person, maybe a teenager who is maybe reporting online that I don't like the way my parents are treating me and things like that. If you are reading that, instead of making comments like, now you alone then go treat that way. That is, are you the only person that they will treat that way? I also passed through that when I was young. Come off it, you'll be better, and all of those things. We can raise support for that person, by possibly asking questions about what happened, asking if you can private chat the person, and things like that. So getting to know, because there are some people who will just put it online that I'm ready to die, but just because somebody is there, giving a helping hand, showing care and concern, the story will change that. So that person eventually did not. And what are those things that would have been the reason why this person would have actually killed himself or killed herself? They are simple issues that just need somebody to talk him or her out of that. Okay, so I like to say that, to a very large extent, we should be our brother's keeper. We should be on the watch out, seeing there are people that are in need everywhere, every day, on a daily basis, and that's one of the reasons I believe why this is a topic that we are discussing today. It's not because we just want to educate ourselves or we want to make ourselves popular, but because we want to reach out to people out there. Somebody will be listening to this one day, maybe now or later, and will find encouragement. Let's look for a way to bring support to as many people that we see who are going through one thing or the other.
Amazing. So it's okay to say we cannot regulate on social media. It's just
No,
our
no, no, no.
responsibility to
Yeah,
ensure that we can follow up on such conversations and find facts in
That's
ways to
correct.
be
Because
of
we can't
help
stop.
to
Yeah,
someone.
sorry, Ty, we can't stop what goes on social media. We can't stop it.
Definitely.
Like we are having this program now. It's possible some people are not happy with this. They can't stop it. It's possible some people like it. They can't even enjoy it for more than the number of minutes we have committed to it. Do you understand now? So
Yeah,
there's
sure.
really nothing you can do about it. So, but
Mm,
when we should just know that when I'm going to the social media, to the internet, I should ensure that I remain sane, and we can also continue to give the word out to help people to understand that, life is, there's something we can do about it, but we have a responsibility to help as many people that we
amazing.
see that we can help.
Awesome. So thank you so much, sir. We're getting to the end, but I can't leave you without a recommendation. How do you
Okay.
think, as a professional counselor, how do you think that we can snap out of a depressive state? Of
Okay.
course, we know that it's not immediate, but then just in 1 minute, just make recommendations.
Okay. Yeah, you have also
Hi. Okay, I think that our guest is having a glitch of network. Oh my god, not now at the end when I would have needed him to give a recommendation. Alright, so I hope that he comes back in less than 1 minute. But if he does not, I want us to understand that for anyone who is on a depressed, who is currently depressed or having symptoms of depression, you could talk to someone, of course, reach out to a professional, even if you don't have a professional around. You could talk to people who are close by, trusted friends, colleagues, and family. People are willing to come to your aid. And of course, they are antidepressants. If you're not ashamed or shy, I know that our society is quite judgmental, but then if you can step out to reach out to pros clinically, you can get antidepressants. These are medications. You are tamed on medications for a while till you get better. Of course, I'm not like a pro, like our guest would have helped us understand better. But in my understanding, this is what I think. These are the steps that I think that can help us to snap out of a depressive state. And like we already know, depression is not an illness. Depression is not a weakness. If you have reasons to be depressed, please don't keep it to yourself. Your life is important. Life matters. We are living for a reason. And of course, life is interesting. I mean, there is no better time to be alive like we are now. All right, guys, I can't get my guest back. And of course, we have to close because we are far behind schedules. Thank you so much for joining in. This is Talk to Taiwo that airs on Baba Chat. In case you want to see other amazing conversations from every part of Africa, remember to subscribe to our YouTube channel on Baba Chat. I'm always super grateful to the producer at the background and of course the Baba team who makes this and more possible. Till I come your way next time, I'm your host Adeyemi Taiwo and this is the show Talk to Taiwo. Bye for now.